Welcome to my YouTube channel, Alfred Atanda, MD,
where we discuss hot topics in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, telemedicine, and other digital health innovations,
and vlog about day-to-day life as a physician. Please enjoy the next video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel.
Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about how to master and ace the virtual interview, whether it be for college, whether it be for medical school, residency, fellowship, even a job. In this day and age with COVID, there are no gatherings that are allowed, and all interviewing is basically what you see here. It's virtual. And although a lot of the things that you would do in an in-person interview probably hold true and will get you through a virtual one, there's definitely some things that are going to be unique to a virtual interview that you definitely need to think about if you're going to make a really good impression in a potentially awkward environment where you're talking to a screen, likely in the comfort of your own home as opposed to somebody's office. So I want to share some ideas with you, and hopefully you find them useful. So first off, we should talk about the environment in which you're actually going to do the interview in. So you want to make sure that it's a quiet space. There's no people visible. There are no moving objects, no distracting objects. And you also want to look at the backdrop that you're going to use. So a lot of people like these kind of fancy thematic backdrops, but sometimes this can be very distracting, specifically for an interview type setting. I would focus more on very simple, soft, plain backdrops where people can focus on you as opposed to what's behind you. And you definitely want to ensure that you have appropriate and adequate lighting as well. So in terms of audiovisual etiquette, you definitely want to make sure you dress for success. So this is a picture of me when I was cleaned up, didn't have my hair growing all over the place and my beard all over the place. You want to be nice, clean cut, presentable, just like you would do for an in-person interview. You want to make sure that you're about 2 to 2.5 feet away from the computer screen. Try to stay still, don't move a lot, don't fidget, and always have good eye contact with the camera, kind of like I'm doing now. And you definitely want to use something that's anchored to the desktop. So a desktop computer or a laptop or a tablet that's anchored to the desktop itself. You definitely don't want to be doing this interview on a mobile phone. So some technical pearls: practice, practice, practice. Find somebody that you know, that you trust, that'll be honest with you and give appropriate feedback so that you can kind of hit the ground running when it's the actual time for the interview. You definitely want to know what kind of internet connection you're using, whether it be Wi-Fi or 4G or 5G or Ethernet. You want to make sure you have all that ironed out, as well as your software platform and the camera and the other hardware that you're going to be using. Definitely have the appropriate login information. A lot of these interviews are going to send links and things ahead of time. You want to plug those in. You want to log into those. You want to practice those, because you don't want to wait till a couple of minutes before the interview and now you're scrambling around trying to figure out how to log in appropriately. So in relation to the nuts and the bolts of the interview, you want to do your homework. You want to know about this program, about this school, about this future job or organization that you're going to be working at. If it's a school, whether it be medical school or residency, you want to think about the curriculum. So what are you going to be learning? What are you going to be doing? What are they going to expect of you? You definitely want to have some long-term goals and know how you can grow in this setting, what some of the alumni of this program or of this organization have been doing, what relationships they've fostered as a result of going to this school or this program. How are you going to get feedback? Who's going to evaluate you? How often they're going to do it? When they're going to do it? And the flip side of that is when or if are you going to have any opportunities for teaching other folks, whether it be in residency or fellowship or with your job. Call responsibilities is going to be more geared towards medical students, residents, fellows, and attendings. Wherever you're at, is there an opportunity for research lab interaction or research lab experience? And then lastly, what kind of things can you expect to do outside of school or work? Are there places nearby where you can do outdoor activities? Or if you're living in a big city, are there restaurants and museums and parks and things nearby? You definitely obviously want to go there and work hard wherever you're going to be at, but you want to make sure that there's things outside of the program that you're interviewing for where you can still be a normal person. Additional things to consider, ask those tough questions of the program. What are the strengths of the program? How does this organization or this program really align with your goals? And how does this program or organization, how is it unique? What separates it from the other programs and organizations that are out there? A big thing for a lot of people is look for signs of diversity. You want to make sure there's people that look like you or have similar experiences to you, or have similar backgrounds to you when you show up. It's always important to think about the place that you're going to be, but you want to make sure that you're going to fit in and belong in this place, and you can be yourself at whatever place you decide to end up at. A great way to do this is talk to the current students, residents, fellows, and attendings that are there. See who they are, where they're from, what their experiences have been, how they relate to each other, and see if they're a group that you think that you can be yourself and belong with if you were to go there. Sometimes you have to think about the questions that are going to be asked of you. I mean, these are things that go along with an in-person interview as well, but they may ask you your own background, your own experiences, different things just to try to get to know you. They may put you on the spot and try to identify special qualities that you may possess that may benefit them. They definitely want to gauge your level of interest, so you want to seem enthusiastic. Like I said, when you do your homework and read up on the program, you want to seem like you know what the program has to offer and you're definitely interested in being there. They're going to want to know what your long-term goals are, how you're going to achieve those goals, what you would need to achieve those goals, and what are you doing now to achieve those goals, because they want goal-oriented, focused, and driven people. So they're really going to try to get that out of you. Sometimes places may test your medical knowledge. When I was applying for medical school and residency back in the late 90s and 2000s, I know that was something that was very common. Hopefully places aren't still really doing that. I think it just makes people anxious and nervous, and it doesn't really make a good interview to see if people are actually a good fit for each other, if you're just pimping them and seeing what kind of medical knowledge they can spew out. If you do happen to get pimped, well, do your best to answer the question. Don't get nervous. If they really put you on the spot and really kind of humiliate you or embarrass you, then maybe that's not the kind of place you want to be anyway. This is something that's new, specifically in the age of COVID and the age of virtualness, is that group interview. You have to remember that you're always on camera. Even if nobody is speaking to you or you're not speaking, people can probably see you. So you want to make sure that you're smiling, you're making good eye contact, you're not answering emails or text messages or talking on the phone. When people are talking, you want to be polite, just like you would in person. Take turns. Don't necessarily answer all the questions first. Give some of the other co-applicants a chance to answer questions. Try not to get intimidated also. I mean, it can be very daunting if there's 9, 10, even 15 people on a call, but try your best to relax and be yourself. And just remember, always play nice in the sandbox. You don't want to be that person on the Zoom call that's really dominating the conversation. You want to try to kind of let things flow, but also let people know that you're there and what you have to say. Now, sometimes they have virtual social events. You want to act and dress appropriately. You may not want to show up in your suit or your formal attire like you did for the actual interview, but you want to gauge what other folks are doing and what the environment is like. You want to have thought-provoking questions to ask and social questions to ask. You definitely want to do things that break the ice and make other people comfortable. If you can do that, people will naturally gravitate towards you and it will make your experience at the virtual event more pleasant. Just like in person, you want to avoid really highly charged, highly controversial topics like politics and religion, current events. specifically with what our political climate and our COVID climate is like. You want to talk kind of about neutral topics that anybody can relate to. A lot of these events are going to have alcohol there. Even if you're in the comfort of your own home, you want to make sure that, if you do drink, you want to drink within reason, maybe half a drink, one full drink. That should probably be your minimum. It's not the place to kind of show off to how much you can drink. You definitely want to be able to carry on a conversation. And last but not least, if all else fails, if you don't remember anything from my talk, just be yourself. It's probably the hardest thing for people to do because, as in a lot of my other YouTube videos, we talk about putting out the version of ourselves that we think people should see and that we would like for people to see. But in an interview, whether it be a single interview, whether it be a group type interview, in person, virtual, you always want to be your natural self. And if for whatever reason, the program, the school, the organization doesn't like you or doesn't want to accept you because you're being who you are, then that's not likely somewhere you want to be. I know it sounds cliche, but always putting your best foot forward typically means just being who you are, being natural, being comfortable in your own skin, and try to represent yourself as accurately as you can. Hopefully you found this helpful, and if you did, please like the video, comment if you want to give me your thoughts, and subscribe to my channel to get access to some future helpful content. Thanks again, and good luck with those interviews.